GearWebsites.com is your source for firearms-based playing cards and books. We also have mugs, shirts, and posters with designs that we've made live. Of course, we have patches. Every Friday is Free Patch Friday. We appreciate your support. Thank you for shopping at GearWebsites.com. AskGunQuestions.com is a website that we built back in 2007. And since then, for the last 15 years, people have been able to ask questions of simple to advanced nature, and we attempt to answer them in different ways over the years. Join us now as we start a new series to answer gun questions. We attempt to answer them in different ways over the years. Join us now as we start a new series to answer gun questions. Come on, man. Where's it even open at? It's open somewhere, I can tell. Come on. All right, there we go. All right. Welcome, everybody, to Ask Gun Questions. Every Saturday, we go live. The idea is to go live and answer questions that come in about guns. And I invite in people that have owned guns their whole lives. So you get, well, we got one FUD in here once in a while. We get, I don't know what Tony is, an activist in here once in a while. We get a gun shop owner in here once in a while, and then you get me. And we have a website. It's called Ask Gun Questions. It's been around since 2007. And over the years, as a website person, I have done different things with that project. And right now, it is this series of videos. And when you go to that website, let's go to that website and see what happens. So when you go to this website, you're going to be met with one simple thing. You can leave a gun question in there. If you want to put your name and stuff, you don't have to. You can if you want. And then I don't ever read the name, so it really doesn't matter. But when you go to that website and leave a comment, it goes into a database. What? Yeah, a database over here. And that is what we... Do I have this open somewhere? This is what we respond to. So as you can see, this one was set up in 17, so there's quite a few years worth of comments or questions in there. The ones that have highlighted are the ones that we've answered, and nothing's come in since this whole month. So either something's broken, which could be, things break, or we've answered every question, and that happens. We're pretty good at this. So since nobody's in here but me and Joel, we'll just dig into some of these questions that don't have highlights yet. So I want to get a longer threaded barrel for a non-NFA. Oh, we talked about this one last week, so I can put a thing on there. So if you want to get an answer to that one, go back to last week. I think last week I was putting in leaf springs. No, was that last week? Yeah, I think that started happening later on in the show last week. And that's when I just kind of walked away and Clover and Tony talked for a bit. But before I walked away, I think we chatted about that. I don't know about this with the muzzle brake. On a Ruger, the P89 DC with the decock, what happens if you disassembled it and pull the pin all the way out? Now it won't disassemble. Well, I don't know what that means. So on the Ruger P89, that's an old double action, one of the first double action Ruger 9mm. So I had one of these. I had a couple of these actually. These were featured in a movie back in the day. The P85s were featured in a movie, I think. And then they improved it. They made it a little bit more quote unquote ergonomic. So that's actually an interesting little facet of the gun world. If you look at the difference between a P85 and a P89, there's some differences. And then you get that decocker one. I think that was the same as saying, not really striker fire, but double action only. But I'm not really sure because there weren't the same common words we have today. So that particular gun is sort of a weird little niche. And it says with the decock, what happens if you have it disassembled? I can barely remember disassembling this thing, but it was very much like a 1911, except that the takedown lever, disassembly pin, whatever you call that thing, was, what's the word? Oh no, it did come apart. I think it came apart from the gun. I was going to say, I think it was attached to the side. I think it was like a, what did you do? Did you take it out just like a 1911? I can hardly remember anymore. But it was similar to 1911. So when you take that slide off, the barrel and everything's coming with it, if I recall correctly. And if you pull a pin out all the way, so I can't even imagine what that means, because there's pins that retain things perpendicular to the slide, right? Things that hold the barrel in or whatever. Then there's pins that hold springs back, and then there's firing pins. So there's pins all over the place on a gun. So you might not realize it, but that particular use of a word is difficult to pin down. Let's see. So if you haven't disassembled, disassemble it and you pull the pin. Oh wait, so it says if you haven't disassembled it and you pull the pin all the way out, now it won't disassemble. I don't even know what that means. Unless he means the retaining pin. So who knows? That's one of them things that if I had one, I could fiddle with it and probably figure it out. Or somebody who owns one could maybe describe the situation based off of that question. But until then, we're going to have to leave that one ungreened out. Can't answer them all. Let's see. Have a New York Arms 12 gauge single shot. Know nothing about this gun. Okay, well, that's fair. It's not really a question. It's just saying something. But let's see if we can find out something about this gun for this person. New York Arms 12 gauge single shot. So let's just take those words and shove them into the internet. And when the duck comes back from the internet, I see an auction. I see something else, another auction. Something about historical.something.com. Proxy bid, another auction. Firearms Forum, another auction. So we can see there's a lot of them selling out there. So then if we take a look at some of these descriptions, we can see that a description for an auction is very much describing the thing, but not necessarily much information about its history. And this one says historical.something.com. That's a joke because it's just describing an auction right there. So that's just some sort of a weird, probably spam feed or something, some kind of link farm, just creating content so that it gets found. And then you see a couple more descriptions of it, but nothing that isn't a description of it, unfortunately. So without even opening any of these sites, you can, well, here's something. New York Arms, a trade brand name, established firearms such as, so this looks like it might be maybe a description of it, maybe a blurb as part of a catalog. And we're at numerous gun parts. Sure enough, it's a catalog, but this is a little description of it. It says New York Arms is a trade or brand name produced by established firearms manufacturers such as Crescent, H&D, Folsom. Shop from numeric selection in New York. We offer the largest selection. So they have a couple of barrel and some kind of a spring model. I know they have all kinds of parts, I guess. You have to click into here to find the parts they have. So if you don't know, Numeric is a company that goes around and buys out companies when they go out of business or when they go bankrupt or something, or they just decide, hey, we're not going to sell this anymore. Let's just sell all the parts to Numeric and wipe our hands of it. And that'll happen every once in a while, especially with the 9mm models. Remember that fad? All the manufacturers finally woke up and said, oh man, let's quit selling these guns and let's just get rid of all the parts and everything and scrap all that stuff and turn it into better things. And then now you can only buy parts for 9mm at places like that. So some kind of an old shotgun, looks like, and not going to find much about it because I don't think there is much about it out there. I believe this gun manufacturer is from 1890 to 1930. So that's somebody who thinks they believe and then wrote it on the internet. So if you want to take that for what it is, otherwise I'm not seeing much. Now here's the deal. Is it because single shot shotguns are super boring and nobody cares about them, so nobody's ever done any kind of history of them? Or is it because single shot shotguns are so numerous and prolific that it would be like trying to keep track of all the different marbles that were ever made? But wait, you probably could keep track of every marble that was ever made, because how many people could even make marbles, right? So if you really think about it, you start somewhere and you start spreading out, and eventually you find the outliers, and then you kind of do have a vision of it all. There's so many people that like shotguns, and so many people got a single shot shotgun as their first gun. I can't imagine that nobody's done it. If you look at how much stuff people have done is research into BB guns, and then research into, I don't know, squirt guns and toy guns and stuff, like those are things that are even less interesting, maybe, depending on what your perspective is, than a single shot shotgun. And there's tons and tons and tons of research there. So it's possible that I just never looked into the research of this, but if they do have a lot of research out there, they suck at putting it on the internet because you can't find it in the first couple of pages of search, which means they're probably archaic or just really bad at it and doing everything on like Facebook. You notice how none of the results come up to Facebook pages or groups or anything like that. They barely even come up to forums anymore. So, and that has a couple of reasons. I guess we're not talking about how to work the internet on Saturdays, but if you want to talk about that on a Monday sometime, let's talk about how to work the internet better. It'd be cool if like gun people weren't just savvy at marketing to each other, but we're good at marketing to the world, like our position on firearms and why it's so important, not just to own toys, but to, have fundamental right to be independent. So let's be able to work together, in liberty, which is what we do pretty good. All right, so next one is, why is it so hard to find the specifications of the Mars 86 military air rifle? Because I have one, but can't find anything else about it. That's super weird. So this is fake or something. So let's go over here and put this over here and find out what it is that we're talking about here. Nothing saying anything about it except for all these Mars standard New Zealand rifle, maybe. Mars L. Let's go try to find out what this Mars 86 is all about. Oh, it's some sort of a brand. Some kind of Hitler Youth brand. Probably because it's a Nazi thing. Nobody really cares about Nazi stuff. With demand for firearms, we'll just mark that one marked because nobody cares about Nazi shit. Right. With demand for firearms at record high, do you think we will see constitutional carry in all the states within our lifetime? Oh, that's from Makocho. So with demand for firearms, I don't think that has anything to do with it, but do we think that we'll see concealed carry in our lifetime? As far as that question, I think so. Because I think that that's the hurdle. The hurdle there is education, not anything else. And people are interested in learning. It's just that they have to get beyond the whatever the divisions are. I don't know the words for it. So, but I think that that is accomplished through education and awareness, and we've got so many people that are accomplishing that in different ways that it's literally eroding the old whatever, like it's becoming that position of being against the individual right is becoming an island, and it's slowly eroding. Is that the way to say it? So I'm going to try doing something this time. Since I don't do this before, let's see. We'll go in here and click a couple of times and questions include. That way I can keep track of the questions that we address. Makes the description more useful, hopefully. All right, so I guess this is what I need to open. And we'll go in here and we'll address this one also. So it's just for thing. You all can say whatever you want about if you think constitutional carry will happen in our lifetimes. I don't think that things have to have been done for them to happen. I don't think that we only experience things that somehow we already experienced miraculously and we only repeat ourselves. So I'm looking forward to what it's going to be like when we can go to the store and buy whatever we want. Nobody's scared of it because that's when we'll see some real innovation. I really want to shoot sand at the berms and not lead. Let's see. Especially Smeggy saying about the 10. I don't think those last 10 are going to stay the same all the time. They weren't the same all the way in the past. And what if we got an island? What if we start making islands to live on or to farm on and stuff? So we're acting like the 50 states are just going to be there forever or whatever. Let's see. I use a comic book site like that. Everyone adds info to help the community. What are you talking about? A comic book site? I guess I should be watching this more carefully. All right. Well, then we're going to go back. Somebody want to pick a number between 1 and 600-ish or something like that? Maybe 200 and 600, so I don't have to scroll back so far. I don't have any interns here today. All right. So let's find this one. What gun can shoot a 50 AE? Well, that's a good question. So why don't we just ask the internet and not have to be concerned about being precise and just know immediately. Let's see. Desert Eagle. Desert Eagle. So let's go to Wikipedia. It knows everything. And if it's not on Wikipedia, it doesn't exist. So there's the 50 African Express next to a 9mm. It's massive. It's massive. And 1988, developed by Even Whittian, some kind of a name. By AMT, AutoMag. So there's the first gun. Was the AMT AutoMag was the first gun. So let's put that question in here. What guns can shoot the whatever? And then we now know that the AutoMag can, the Desert Eagle can. It looks like the rim diameter of the 50 is the same as the 44 Remington Magnum. And it looks like that's it. So there's just two guns out there that can shoot it. So there you go. Two answers to that question. Oh, wait, hold on. Other firearms chambered for it include, we already talked about the AMT. There's this large Grizzly Win Mag, which is some kind of 1911 looking gun. You got a Magnum Research BFR, the something frame revolver, big frame revolver. And then you got a Freedom Arms, which is also probably a revolver in 555. So that makes a lot of sense to make a 50 in a model 555. Freedom Arms also makes little tiny guns, so it's a cool company. Magnum Research, obviously a cool company. Grizzly, don't know anything about them. So AMT, I've been there. Wait, have I been there? Yeah, I've been there. I've been to where AMT was in California when, it was a different trip than that time that me and Smeggy went all around. It was a different trip, I think. Yeah, it was a different trip. It was right after I hung out with Mr. Knives. Mr. Knives lives right by where AMT was first made, FYI. People who know what I'm talking about know what I'm talking about. So there's a couple of questions to that, and we'll just steal them right here off of the, what's this called? Wikipedia. Boom, drop it right here. AutoMag, and get rid of all these because only Wikipedia wastes time, everybody's time with that. And there you go, 4 answers. We'll just save that real quick. Go see if anybody's dropping things. Number 3, come on, man. I gotta go scroll all the way back now. Probably 3 has already been answered anyway. Can you shoot? This was from 2017. Nobody knows who asked this question. Can you shoot a 4/10 shotgun shells from a 44 Magnum revolver, specifically a Ruger Super Redhawk 44 Magnum? No. Here's how many different ways no. 1, it ain't going to fit in there. 2, you're not going to be able to close the cylinder even if it did fit in there. And 3, there's that gap between the thing, and I wouldn't want to shoot through there. Some people do, but I don't like that idea. So that seems like no. The answer to that is no. Was that a joke question? Is that some kind of spoof the system by asking some kind of backwards question or something there? It seems like a weird question. But done. 298. Let's check that one out. I gotta scroll way back over here. Y'all ask questions right near each other. Makes it easier for my wiggle finger. But whatever. There is a tactical stock out there for is there a tactical stock out there for a Ruger M77? What the hell? A Ruger M77? If that's what I think it is, then I'm gonna go, oh no, it's just a regular bolt action. Okay, so let's see. Is there a tactical stock out there for a Ruger M77? Caliber shouldn't matter, so we'll ignore that. We'll keep tactical stock, Ruger M77, and we'll search for that. I see a bunch of yahoos making videos, and then you got a Ruger chassis. Tactical works. Let's take a look at that. You got Hawkeye Tactical. We'll take a look at that. aftermarket chassis. It looks like a bunch of people asking that same question. Is it possible it's the person that asked the question on our chat in 2017? Maybe. So here's a stock that looks like it's made out of like overmolded rubber. There are two considerations: reliability and price. How about accuracy and reliability, I guess? Of course, nothing's new, blah, 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 blah. Tactical is Model 77. This is built on a Ruger. So this is some kind of gun built up off of a Mark 77 or M77. So that's not necessarily a stock you can buy. And then this is some kind of Gen 2 update to chassis for the, does it say? It says for a Ruger, I guess. Ruger short action chassis. So what's the, oh, you get a mag pull option too? All right, well, some people need to have a different looking stock for their stuff. Like, oh, it shoots better if it's got a different stock on it. But mainly this is to give you a precise length of pull, probably, and to give it a more rigid situation than the materials in wood or whatever. And they probably don't need all that extra weight, so they don't put a bunch of extra stuff on it than what you actually, your actual points of contact with the rifle. I guess some people like the aesthetic of it, and then, but it's basically probably coming from like Olympic, because they don't care if their guns are fragile. It seems a little fragile to me. Like it's taken away all the stuff that makes a gun rugged for wartime, because police snipers don't do nothing hardly ever except walk up to wherever they're going and like lay down, I guess. So they don't need anything fancy, and people in the Olympics have like butlers or something. They hand them everything, so they don't need to worry about nothing. This one here looks like it's more sturdy, probably made by people who were shooting guns for a living. And it looks like you could do stuff like this. Squish it on stuff and ram it against things and lean on it and have it fall on stuff and not be all fragile. It's $200 versus $500. So some people are going to be like, oh, I need to buy the skeletonized version because that costs more. And that way people can tell from a distance how much I spent on my stock. Oh, look at this one. And then other people are all about the grip angle. This one's made for people with grip angle issues, and they're paying for it. $549. So again, oh, I get all mad at California, but then I pay $549 for that stock. So anyway, there you go. That's a question from back in the day. And Ruger M77. So what do you think? In 2018, was there no stocks, or that person just didn't know how to go on the internet and look at stocks like that? So it took about 2 seconds. Let's see. I think we'll keep this over here for my own reasons. None of your business why I'm keeping that. And then this one we can close also. Go over here. Is a 22 LR anniversary. Wait. Am I missing these in order? 50. I'm getting flashbacks by a question about it. Oh, you're talking about. Oh, wait, that was that one. Yeah. All right. Let's keep moving. All right. So here's the question. Smeggy claims to have a buddy that, quote unquote, buddy changed out his Marlin with a weird chassis. It's a 22 long rifle anniversary edition, and he likes the wood better. Well, yeah. Like that Archangel stock. So I don't know what he's talking about. But all right, so I didn't miss too much there. All right, we'll keep going to, did we have another number? Oh, we didn't. Nope, so that was it. It's been 20 minutes. Nobody's showing up today to join me. So that means we can do what we want because I've got no rules. So now we're going to go over here and try out one of these things on Tactical Quiz, new project I'm working on. Boom, just type in Tactical Quiz. Boom, go in and play all these different games and whatnot for free. Thanks to our Patreons, because they make this kind of stuff possible. So how did I find the one I was going to do yesterday? I'm just going to cheat and go inside. Don't let this. I'm going inside. There, you can't see what I'm doing now. All right, so we're going to go to this one, and then how do I actually, like look at it and stuff? Maybe I should go look over here. And oh, snap. Thank you for that. What happened to the pages? That's right. Looking for, I think I just found it. And view page. All right. Ugh, I didn't put it on here yet. All right, hold on. Oh, no, wait. Is this even the right thing? No, this isn't the right thing. This is what happens when you don't have anybody in here with you. You get to listen to all the dead air while I'm looking for something. So these... broadcast live. What does that even mean? Well, I know I made one yesterday, and we didn't do the quiz during the Daily Gun Show, and I forgot about it. I'm almost positive we did not. Oh, you know what? I'm looking for a page, and it's a post. That's why. All right. Dang it. Maybe we did do the one yesterday during the other show. No, we did the Second Amendment one, and then we did the firearms inventor one, right? Nope, I guess I didn't make a page for it. I thought I did. Let me go see if I made a thing for it, though. All right, so we'll open this up, and yeah, I did one right here. And I just need to now grab this little code thing. Let me just real quick make one instead of trying to see if I already made one. We'll do this, and we'll just call this one Ask Gun Questions. And we'll put this here, and we'll just get this over with and publish that. And now we can just go there, and there we go. We'll blame somebody else for the lack of preparation here. Oh, dang it. I got to figure out what the password is. I don't think that was the password, so it is probably... Oh, that password's wrong also, so let me go find out what the password is now. You don't have to worry about it. I'll figure this out real quick. And go in here. Oh, well, would have never thought that was the password. Boom. So now we can keep going. All right, so does anybody want to play along from home? So, Mark, I've got your stuff sitting right here, actually. So thanks for that super chat. Sorry, come back to paying attention to what's going on. So Mark just threw a super chat down, and he had purchased a bunch of stuff from the store and purchased stuff from Amazon or eBay. So thank you for that. It says you have a choice of flintlock or percussion. Which would you get in a modern blunderbuss? Oh, okay. That's a good question. So we'll take a second and talk about that. Then these guys are just talking about chassis choices for rifles. So chassis choices for rifles, you're going to, they're like shoes or gloves. And to some extent, people can't tell you what to get, but they can tell you what kind to get. So while I'm not going to tell you what type of shoe to wear, I'm going to be able to say when to use a tennis shoe and when to wear a boot, right? So those stocks and stuff, you're going to want to find one that fits to your ergonomics, your skeleture, like your musculature, right? Like the one that is comfortable is a factor. But if the one that fits you the most comfortably is the most delicate, sparkly, brightly colored stock with, neon colors and bejangled crystals all over it, then it's probably not a tactical stock you'd want to use, because you're going to pay for all that embellishment and then need to immediately scrape it off or paint it a darker color. So it's BS to listen to people who are like, let's all be happy and just buy whatever's comfortable for you, because those people have never done anything ever. And they also have no idea what it's like to need gear that just works. So when you talk about stocks and stuff, there's tons of them, and everybody's willing to sell you anything. And if you have them hammer everything's a nail, so if you know how to do woodworking and then you get into guns, or you are looking for a new market and you already know how to do woodworking, then wood stocks are awesome, and everything about wood stocks is great. But we don't get paid by no wood stock people, and I don't get paid by no rubber stock people. So everything's got its advantages and disadvantages at certain times. But I find that a stock that the police use isn't necessarily the best. Definitely a stock the military uses is not necessarily the best. A stock that a high-end military unit that doesn't have a budget is probably really good, and probably a good place to start. But because they got no budget, and because they can buy things that aren't available, it's not necessary. It's sometimes obtainable and sometimes isn't. And then again, it's not always applicable, but often that's the best for rugged and practicality. And then everything else is going to be some coming from that in some direction, right? It's going to become more fragile. It's going to become less expensive. It's going to, because of less materials or less precision or something, less features. And others are just going to be completely different tangents, designed to whatever, work differently or cater to a completely different operator, like person that operates the gun. I don't mean a different type of operator. But anyway, the stock thing is a whole nother conversation. And since I don't even hardly care, I'm not going to waste your time with too much of my opinion on it. I don't use a lot of them things. So I tend to adapt to what's in front of me and then give it back to whoever owns it. Let's see. So Mark is asking, if you had a choice of a flintlock or percussion, which would you get in a modern blunderbuss kit? Both are 54 cal smoothbore. They supposedly take round ball or shot. Okra as an environmentally friendly rifled slug. Thoughts? So I don't know enough about okra. I thought it was way softer than maybe a solid. If it's solid when it's like unripe or something, then for sure. If it's like an apple ever, then definitely. But if it's like a green pepper, which I think it is, then no, it's not going to be solid enough. Now, if you could fill the okra with water first, if it's like a green pepper filled with water, now it becomes a whole different projectile, and that could be fun. But I don't know. I don't like okra, so I never really dealt with them. I never grown them or anything. I don't know anybody that's ever. Maybe I've seen them grow a couple of times, but I've never had them in our garden type of thing. Let's see. I wish I could market it as "wish it was lethal." Hot snot and seeds. I don't know what that is. Is okra hot? I didn't think okra was hot. Is it like a pepper? Let's see. All the seeds would help the okra spread, so lethality would eventually be achieved. It'd take over, squeeze out all the truly edible plants, and we'd all just starve. That's a good point. But how cool would it be if we could develop a maybe a way to, how bullet mold works? What if you could 3D print something that's similar to a bullet mold that you would place over, let's say, a pepper or a little watermelon or some sort of a prolific, like a cherry tomato plant, except something more dense than cherry tomato. So you create something that's like a gourd or a melon, like a gourd, I guess, an inedible, very thin, thick-skinned little gourd little plant, and then you put a little 3D printed mold over it, and then that mold becomes a 40 millimeter, 37 millimeter, whatever, until we get rid of the NFA, little projectile. And now you have organic projectile, and like DJ says, it'll eventually just spread its seeds all over. So worst that happens is you're spreading food in abundance all around. That'd be super fun though, if you could just grow projectiles. That's how 9mm is made. They just throw some 9mm on the ground, and then like little 9mm weeds pop up. They go out and harvest them. They have little kids harvest them. Slave labor. It's horrible. So getting back to the blunderbuss kit. So first off, I don't have to do all this. So don't I have this open somewhere? I could have sworn I had this open. Let's go over here and go blunderbuss kit 54 cal. Oh, what happened? 54 cal. So blunderbusses are supposed to be big, wide, giant, things, and not just necessarily a trumpet at the end, but also just a big, giant caliber tube. And these are pretty big. So this one is percussion, right? Oh, I see. You got two different models right here. What are we talking here? $400. They're not kidding around. However, this looks pretty decent, like actually super decent. And then this one. What are we talking here? $400, basically same price. Well, personally, I like flintlock better. Mine's a flintlock, and it's more annoying. Let's tell me about it. Let's see if I remember where it's at, and then I'll have a commercial real quick, and I'll go see if I can grab one. Whose commercial is going to be long enough? This commercial with Crump, who does show pretty regularly, interviews people, gets fired by talking to people about things like $12 million a year, bragging about it, and then that organization doesn't post anything on their website for 2 years. But whatever. I might get fired. Oh wait, I can't get fired because I'm not in the pocket of big whatever. There we go. So let's move this down a little bit. This is your flintlock, which is better. There's a big rock in it, and you got to put the rock in this like deal here, and then you got this guy who comes down, and I guess I could turn my lights on. So this little pan, you have to get a flash in the pan, right? Got to keep your powder dry, and then this guy has to be holding on tight. Is this even set up? There's no way this is set up anymore. This little chunk of leather has to be willing to hold on. Let's make sure I'm pointing this somewhere good. Is this back on the leg? And then I don't like the grip angle on this blunderbuss. I swear, if this is the worst grip angle on this blunderbuss, I would get one. Did it spark? I would get one with a way better grip angle and in polymer. This was only 80%. See, it's not sparking. So this is what happens. Like somebody with 9mm comes after you, and then you got to defend yourself with this. You got to get this guy to spark. So this is the fun of it. Now this one may or may not be a wall hanger that I'm trying to make work. I guess if I did it correctly, correct-handed. What am I shooting at? I'll shoot my printer if this happens. Oh, that definitely sparked that time. Do you see it spark? So when it sparks, this guy jumps out of the way. All that powder catches fire. It goes through a little hole underneath it here. And then it comes out of this. So there's no way to measure this one because it's authentic. It's made out of gold. I had this one custom made out of gold. But I guess if you're going to get it made out of stainless, that'd work. See how irregularly it flints? That's because I don't have this thing adjusted right, and I have the wrong like little edge. It's all about the edge. Striking that thing good. And this ain't doing it. So that's the fun and the frustration. This puts the fun and frustration of shooting these old things. This one has a different stock on it, and I don't know enough about these to know if there's some deal with this or if this is fake. This is probably fake, I'm sure of that, but I'm saying I don't know if it's emulating something or not. It looks like the one you're getting is longer, so I don't know, maybe because of laws they can't be this short anymore, but this would be the SBR version, I guess, of one. So it looks like yours has a little more wood going on up here. According to this, it looks like your lock is like your wood would be up to here at least, and then the barrel even further. Probably be stronger, whatever this is called. There's a name for this probably, this part, and mine isn't all that good. I need to take like a file or something to it and make it rougher. I believe it's the metal that's causing the spark. You're scraping metal off with the rock. Ow. So you don't want to put your thumb there. That hurt a lot. The other nice thing about a blunderbuss is you can set them down like this. It is possible to set them down like that. See what I'm saying? All right, now this is percussion, and you need to take your deal, hold it like this, and you pretty much figure that's as far as the thing can go. You want to put it in there and make sure that it's empty. That's how you can make sure a black powder is empty. Because if it went in all the way, there's no way it's holding enough powder or ball or anything. It ends pretty much where that line is. So that's how you check a black powder. And then there's no cap on here, so it's not going to do anything anyway. But just in case, all you got to do is put the little cap on that nipple, and it just shoots. Sometimes there's some hang time because the spark has to go down there and then over there, and it talks for a little bit. Hey, how you doing? What's going on? Then it goes, and starts a fire, and then pushes this thing out eventually. So you got to get used to the hang time, and then you have to figure out how to pick this little thing off of here because there's no device to do that. And that's why in the old days they would, on their old black powder revolvers, they would shoot and then go like this, and then shoot and then go like this, so that their cap would fall off. But there's a super boring in my opinion, and they're like halfway modern. So this is if you like to straddle modernity and you kind of want your gun to work all the time, but it's also like 99% of the way to being a 9mm. Like you're basically at a modern 9mm at this point. So why not just go the extra mile and buy one? So that's your quandary. Now, if you could do like this, I bought this one broke for like $5 or $10, I think. So that's the way I recommend buying these things. And then all I did is be friends with people and hang out at a gun shop for a long, long time. And eventually I got to buy this thing at a pretty good deal also. So always, when you have an opportunity to bring a pizza to your gun shop, find out what pizza they like, find out what kind of donuts they like. And then you get good deals on stuff. All right, so going back to this, I'm going to say there's no easy answer to this one. Wimp out and go with the modern suck version, or go with the authentic real version and suffer. That's a good, I can't give you a good answer. I don't know you enough to know if you're, what you're down, what you're interested in and what. Yeah, it's really tough, especially if what you're going to do with it and how you want to enjoy it or not. It was a whole thing, and it's been a whole thing learning the stupid flintlock. But I also have a couple of flintlocks now, a couple of 3 flintlocks, So once you learn flintlocks, and I'm a flintlock master or whatever now, then it's like, oh, I'm going to grab another flintlock. Anybody can master a percussion cap. I mean, all you got to do is pull a trigger on a percussion cap. The only thing to master is figuring out how to pick the percussion cap off effectively. So maybe having some kind of a cool tool or like a little crowbar-y thing or something. I don't know. Maybe there's like an actual tool that they use that I don't know about. Yeah, that's a good question. So we can do this. I will put up a poll right here in front of everybody about which one. Blunderbuss kit, 54 cal. Flintlock or percussion. And we'll see what your peers say. They only get those two choices. But that's a good question. I don't think I can choose, so I chose both. Sometimes the answer is both. But thanks for the super chat. And I was just about to film the Thank You Thursday with the stuff that's sitting right there. And there was something else I was going to do that was holding me up, and I can't remember what it was. But anyway, everybody else's stuff that bought stuff on Free Patch Friday is boxed up. I just did that before the show. And thanks again. Really appreciate it. Let's see. DJ saying no ammo quiz. I'm pretty sure we did do an ammo quiz, but good try. So now we're going to do a general quiz since nobody's doing anything, saying anything. Would anybody like a password to run this quiz? Let me know if you'd like a password to run this quiz. And I don't know where to shove it. Let me know where you want it to be shoved. And if I can do it on my other screen, I'll shove you over the password. Otherwise, let's take a look at this. Where'd it go? Let's take a look at that quiz. There it is. Run a percussion kit on, percussion conversion kit on the flintlock. That's crazy talk. What they did do is chop the percussion. They chopped the back end off of either one and turned them into trapdoor Springfields. So they trapdoored them. So they would cut the back end of the barrel off, turn it into a breech, and then use the kind of create a thing that fit in there so that the mechanical energy from the hammers coming down, instead of having to hit a percussion cap or hit push the flint on the steel, it would instead just transfer energy into I don't know, some sort of an arm that would transfer energy into a firing pin effectively, some kind of an anvil or something, or hammer or whatever that would be called. And effectively, you just transfer the energy down and hit the primer on whatever cartridge you end up putting in that trapdoor conversion. So I think that's the conversion you would do. But I don't think you could do it legally on a blunderbuss. A blunderbuss being an antique firing mechanism, the flintlock or percussion are both antique firing mechanisms. They don't have self-contained cartridges that can ignite. Therefore, they don't apply to any national level firearms laws, period. So that way they don't apply to the NFA. They don't apply to how big the barrel can be or how short the barrel can be. And then if you were to convert them into an actual gun, you'd be creating a short barrel rifle destructive device out of a blunderbuss. And that would be it'd be one paperwork. You'd be making a destructive device, and it would cost you $200 to create. So it's not worth it. Unless you really want to do it, and then go ahead and do it. Except I'd wait for the NFA to be abolished and then do it when it doesn't cost $200. What about AK Bunny and AK Easter egg patches since Easter is around? Well, we normally would do AK-April, which is a whole thing that started in, what year did AK-April start in? Does anybody know? Shit, do I know? Off the top of my head, I don't know. I don't remember if I put it into the catalog or not. But anyway, AK-April started in the Gun Channels days, in the Gun Channels era. And when I had the machine, so it had to start after 2016, I suspect. But we had, I don't know, 3 or 4 different versions of AK-April patches I would make them for Patreons, and now that the machine's broke, I don't have that ability anymore. But I did consider doing a AK Pro run. However, Mark just bought the second and third of the Daily Gun Show patches, so selling 3 out of a batch isn't good odds. So I'm not sure if I'm gonna, it'll be a minute before I start doing other patch runs, I think. But that's a good question, and yeah, it's definitely something that we have done traditionally and we'd like to keep doing. But I'm in a hole because I do things before I think about them sometimes. So I'm in a financial hole. But once we get out of that financial hole, I'll go back to my old crazy ways of doing stuff. All right, with that being said, let's take a look at the poll, and it looks like Flintlock is winning 2 votes to 1. So we only got 3 voters out there out of 10. Does that tell us 7 federal agents watching the show today that are not allowed to vote because of Biden doesn't let them vote? All right, so those of you, nobody asked for a password to the quiz, so I'm guessing nobody wants to play along, and we'll just go ahead and show you the questions so you get an idea of the new project over here. And this one is just some general gun questions. I just took general gun questions, 10 of them. I was going to do this on the Daily Gun Show yesterday and then blabbled on too long, and we just didn't. So first one is, which was first, the Masadi Lethal Force Institute or Clint Smith's Thunder Ranch? And it looks like I need to put a apostrophe S in both of these so that it's more easy to read. And I'm just clicking next. I'm not answering them. You get to go answer them. When was the first? Well, actually, Patreons can go answer them. I still haven't figured out how to release these things. If somebody was in here playing live, we'd be playing live, and then it would be released. But since nobody's in here playing live, I might just let this go to Patreons for a bit. Because it takes some time to set these things up, research the questions, and then create it and all that. I just don't want to not give it to Patreons first. So when was the first gun rights policy conference? Some of these questions you saw yesterday in one of the other quizzes. Which museum has more guns on public display? Is it the Rock Island Arsenal Museum in Illinois or the Springfield Armory Museum in Massachusetts? 2 of the government's gun museums. Both of them are arsenals where we built a bunch of stuff for the war efforts and stuff. You're saying the first gun rights policy conference was in 1988? Close. It was close to that. Uh-oh. I can't undo the question. I have to refresh. But what happens if I refresh? I forgot. I'm already accumulating a score over here. There's only a 3-digit password. Nobody wanted it, though. Let's see. Oh, what is it doing them randomly? I guess it's doing randomly. Which museum has more guns on public display? We already asked this one, so we'll go to next. Which was larger, Camp Perry Range or the Seagirt Range? Does anybody know what we're talking about here? There were NRA ranges. The first one was called what? And where was it? It was called the... What the hell was it called? It was called the... It was on New York Island or something. Was it Camp Perry? No, it was... Or maybe it was Camp Perry. Anyway, there was the one... And no, it wasn't. Camp Perry's the one that still exists. So the first one was a match named after it. There's rifles named after it. And it's named after the ranch. Oh, dang. I can't even think of it now. Anyway, there was the first NRA range, and then they went to Seagirt, and then they went to Camp Perry. So if you know that, then you know the answer now. Oh, yeah, there's a long delay. Yeah, that's true. Let's see. So the next one is, what was first, the Masada Yube's Lethal Force Institute or Clint Smith's Thunder Ranch? Next one is, which has a larger collection of firearms, the ATF's firearms collection in West Virginia or the FBI's reference firearms collection at Quantico, Virginia? And second question, can you go look at either one of these? No. Even though there are guns and they're huge collections and they're awesome, they're specimen guns, we can't even look at them. When was the first gun rights policy conference? That's the one that you said, 88. which was close but not the answer. And then which is the older large handgun caliber, 500 Smith & Wesson or 50 Action Express? Somebody knows that one. J.M. Davis is bigger, but that's cheating because it's bigger than all of them. The ones that were in the list, though, you had to know the difference between. Let's see, which is older, semi-auto pistol, or which is the older semi-auto pistol caliber, 40 Smith & Wesson or 357 SIG? Probably FBI because longer lifespan versus ATF. Well, that's interesting. ATF has every gun that anybody says, hey, can I bring this gun into the country or can I make this gun? That's what they have. FBI has every gun that was used in a crime. ATF has every gun that somebody wants to make or wants to import, and probably some crime guns, like the stuff they steal from people. And then FBI is all the guns that were used in crimes. And I'm pretty sure, like, if a weird guns get used in a crime in like Detroit, they send it to the FBI. So they don't have just ones that they want. They get them from all kinds of places. They're some of the largest collections that we as the country own, and they're also off limits. Why are you standing right here? I put my arm down and there's a bunch of fur there and a little dog standing here. She's watching the neighbor people hang out on the roof. She figured out a spot she can sit and kind of lay there and look at the neighbor people hanging out on their roof, doing some kind of work over there. Sorry about that. She's probably telling me about the work that's going on or something. So we had a couple of votes for 50 AE. Don't listen to DJ because he's cheating. And then 40, you're saying, is older? Then we got which is older, the Trinidad Gunsmithing School in Colorado or the Yapavai Gunsmithing School in Prescott, Arizona. So Trinidad Gunsmithing School is in Trinidad, Colorado. It's a community college, and they've got a gunsmithing school there. There's 3 gunsmithing schools in Colorado, I think. And then the Yapavai gunsmithing course is at another community college, but this one's in Prescott, Arizona, and they've got a good reputation for a long time as well. FBI's been around since the 30s, and the ATF has changed names, but they've been around a long time. But as far as the ATF being the ATF, taking charge of guns, it's only been since Prohibition. Let's see. Which gun blog was Ken Blanchard, or which gun blog was first? Semicolon. Ken Blanchard's Black Man with a Gun or Ammoland? I think we answered this one yesterday. Then we got Gun Free. Dang it, who got it? We got the Gun Free Zone Act in 1990 was introduced by a senator from which state? And again, I'm not trying to mess it up for people that want to go take the quiz, but then you got Alabama, Connecticut, Rhode Island, or Wisconsin. And then when you click see results, you'll get the answers. Now, I didn't answer any of them, so I get a 0. Oh, I didn't realize you could just rate it right away. So thanks for rating it. If you do, give us some feedback and let us know what you'd like to see and stuff. That's a way that you can communicate with us. And also you can let us know who did the quiz. Dang, now that's pretty cool. So if you take the quiz and you want to say who you are, then I imagine you could say, I won it. I am this person. And then click send feedback. And then I imagine I will see it over there on that side as a thing. Very cool. So yeah, this is a new project we've been working on. It's over at Tactical Quiz. The quizzes themselves take a lot of effort to come up with the questions and stuff. So I'm setting them up to be live like this. And then once they're live and my Patreons who pay for all this have played it, then it'll go free to anybody who wants to play it. So like you can go look at the Second Amendment one now. I'll link you to it, and you can take this quiz all you want. Use it on your channels, on your live shows if you want. Have fun at parties. Use it at the range or on your phone if you're at the gun show and you're waiting in line or something. It's a way to hopefully get some more awareness of the spectrum that we got in the firearms community. There's all kinds of stuff. I try to include a piece of a bunch of it. And some trivia, so to speak, but also with some usefulness, not just trivia for no reason. There's, it's hopefully building our awareness and giving us all more resources for having conversations and just being more aware. Sorry about that. Didn't mean to cough like that. I was trying to mute and it didn't work. Anyway, so this sucks having to talk the whole time. I'm going to end it because I don't like talking this long. And really, this isn't a commercial for the tactical quiz, but I wanted to play this one on the show last night, and it just ran long, so I didn't. So we filled in some time today doing that. If you want to go play it, feel free. And like I say, if you're a Patreon, I'll start putting the passwords out on the ones that we do on live like this. Otherwise, this show is about the AskGunQuestions.com website. So I'll put the link out there for that one as well, and encourage anybody who has any questions to drop them into the form there. It's anonymous, it's no obligation or nothing. We're not trying to sell you anything. If you want an answer, you'll get a lazy, disconjointed answer on Saturday afternoons. But that's the point, is to give you a point of view that isn't paid for, that isn't sponsored, that is hopefully offered from a place of experience and insight, and not manipulation or I don't got a skin in the game. I don't care if you take my advice or not. The other guys that are in here, when they're here, and I think they're the same way, they just want to offer an alternative way of being aware of where we came from. With that, we'll say thanks to everybody who showed up live. Let's see, you got Joel being participatory tonight, this afternoon. DJ's out there dropping links. Thanks for that. I don't know we haven't seen any of the spam so much in a while, but thanks to the people that helped combat that stuff. Mark, thanks much. And we got Smeggy out there. Was Makojo out here? I know Makojo was here in spirit because we were answering some questions and stuff. C&T, of course, the super chat, much appreciated. That's keeping us going here with the bills, and the situation in the world today isn't super easy, so I've much appreciated. Otherwise, I think I got everybody. Did I get Smeggy already? We'll make sure we get Smeggy in there, and say thanks again to the people that watch this live. Now, if you're not here to watch this live, you don't have to. If you're watching this after the fact, we post this on lots of different platforms, on Utah Gun Exchange, soon to be Universal Gun Exchange, I think. But the UGE is a platform. Met the people that run that, and been enjoyed posting stuff over there. It's simple, it's easy to do, but nobody gives me any feedback. So if you are listening over there, then give me some feedback. Let me know that there's people over there watching. I see the view counts, but if it's a platform of people that are just watching, that's fine. But if you are out there, you're interested in having back and forth conversation, we're exploring that on other platforms like Odyssey. I'm really not posting too much on Odyssey because it's actually a pain in the butt compared to posting it on UGE. But we are working on going live over on Odyssey, so we'll be streaming these simultaneously to multiple platforms as we keep going. But we also post on guntube.org. We post on Gunstreamer. So again, if you're listening on any of those platforms, definitely leave us some comments. We monitor the comments on all these platforms, because really the goal isn't to just have our content on different platforms because our content's so important or blah, 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 and we need to worry about backups. That's an element of it, I suppose, but it's just a happenstance. What we're really doing is trying to get the word out to as many people as possible about the things that are hopefully interesting and important amongst all the cries and complaints for your attention to what's urgent, the things that are so important right now that they need your attention. And I'm not saying that the sky's falling, and I'm not saying it ain't. I'm just saying we're offering something that's a consistent alternative and a consistent encouragement. And we do that on multiple platforms for a reason, because we're not, again, just trying to prepare for the worst or suggest that the systems are failing, although I'd like to see the dependence on some of these systems go to the wayside. Until that happens, we're really just trying to seek out others and bring them to, not to the same place, but just to give us the same playing field. All right, I can't find it again. All right, well, that was too much talking in a row, so I'm done. We're out of here. Normally, we'd have a couple others showing up. When they're here, we'll plug them. So instead, I'll plug some other stuff who deserves it. Later on this afternoon, let me go back over to YouTube. Go to if you click on the main YouTube, it's going to show you stuff that it thinks you like. A bunch of garbage over here, right? So if I click on subscriptions, that's what I'm actually, the channels I'm subscribed to. The Daily Bullet was on a little earlier today. That was worth listening to or watching, I suppose. But coming up later today, I think people posted their stuff too early. So I'm just going to cheat and go over to my subscriptions. Later on today, you're going to find Great Start Shooting School is going to go live and offer a consistent, regular focus on what 2 out of every 3 firearms deaths are, and that's suicide. Suicide awareness, suicide prevention is the goal. And Brooke runs a project over here, a YouTube channel, along with other platforms where they focus on and offer tips and insight, tools and skills on how to have conversations and how to approach mental health awareness, suicide prevention. I think today, no, I think coming up, she's going to be talking to the folks from Walk the Talk America, but today it's just a regular show. That show's coming up today. G23 is another YouTube personality who offers a long format show every Saturday focused on guns and often Second Amendment topics. Today, they do have the people from Walk the Talk America on, along with Mario. I'll drop a link to that one. Did I just drop a link? Yeah, I just dropped the link to Brooke. Let me make sure that that one is marked as Brooks. And then G23, normally his conversations are more general topic. They just happen to coincide with the subject of Brooks' conversations, and that's, again, suicide awareness, mental health awareness, I should say, suicide prevention and awareness, I guess. But the antis are using it against us. It's our veterans who are choosing that route, unfortunately. And it's because mental health is stigmatized. There's there's literally attempts to remove single implements, parts of some of their property, telling them that they're not capable of, they're not rational or reasonable enough to have this property. So let me take this particular piece of property away, and now you go figure it out on your own. And that's the answer. So it's not selfishly a gun rights thing, but it coincidentally is a gun rights thing, a gun owner's rights thing. There's no such thing as gun rights. There's gun owner's rights. They use the circumstances of our veterans and the results of the alternatives that the veterans see before them, and they use that against us. And it's on multiple fronts offensive and horrible. Instead of just getting upset or offended about it, there's people out there that are working and doing massive efforts to change that paradigm. And one group of them is Walk the Talk America. G23 will be talking to them. Another individual is Brooke Cheney, and she'll be live this afternoon. Now, later this evening, beyond all that, you're going to find an overnight show, and that show is hosted by DM Foss, who is a YouTube celebrity. And his show, you have to always go in 3 levels deep to find his live streams because he doesn't put them on his main page either. His show will be live in 11 hours, like half a day from now, and that's because his show is overnight. And tonight, unfortunately, he's going to be talking about the big distraction over and over and over. So he voted, or he had a poll, and that's what his viewers voted on. So they're talking about that tonight. It's usually worth staying up and paying attention to. You never know when you're going to find something useful. But if you dig in a spot that's had useful things before, you're going to get better odds. And DM Foss's shows have been beneficial in the past for me. Find lots of good stuff in those conversations. Besides that, Echo looks like he's going live. Oh, that's coming up. So otherwise, I think, AR must have ended just a moment ago. Second Amendment Foundation was live. I have been listening to, let me go to my history over here. If you're looking for something to listen to until G23, what do we got? Got almost 2 hours till G23 goes live. I'm used to being a lot longer on this show. I was just watching this history of U.S. combat cutlery. Really good. Really good. let's see. This is not something I watch. This is something that showed up in my feed, so let's remove it. If you want to watch something else, oh, FYI, you can't find "Shall We Play a Game?" That noise from the computer game or from the movie. You can't get that. It must be copyright protected. All these things have it removed or said like in a whisper, and they alter it and stuff, so you can't just steal it. This here, this 1 hour long conversation with Vietnam era veterans talking about the gear and stuff that they carried from tactical riflemen. He basically starts the show and then gets out of the way and lets John Stryker-Meyer and this other guy talk about the uniforms and the gear. A little bit of the guns, but mostly uniforms and gear, how they used it and why they used the stuff they did as the reconnaissance SOG V in or SOG Mac V in Vietnam. Really interesting stuff. All right, well, that's what you can watch today. Otherwise, join us back again this time next week. And thanks everybody for showing up. Looking for the, oh, you know what? I'm gonna do one of these first. We'll try it with one of these, little spice. Then we'll end it with the 1-2 punch.
Tonight's episode: the endangered species.
Hey, did you know that you could help support our future projects and let everyone know you're a fan of what we do? Check out our print-on-demand store. We have a tab here on YouTube. When you click on it, you can choose from a bunch of different items. We have shirts and posters and coffee mugs. Click on the one you like. When you find the design you want to put on it, choose a color and a size if it's appropriate. And when you purchase these items, a portion goes to help fund our future projects. We really do appreciate your support. You get some cool stuff. When you get that stuff, post pictures here and on other platforms, and we'll hook you up next time you order from our gear website store. Thank you for your support of gunwebsites.com. Thank you for supporting our projects. If you'd like to buy us a cup of coffee, check out our Patreon channel.
The guys and gals at gunwebsites.com encourage you to take a CCW class every year, practice at least once a month, and carry every day. Thank you for watching gunwebsites.com.